You've done theatre, you've done films, you're doing ad films, you own businesses. Do you consider yourself, or have you ever considered yourself as a communicator? The medium doesn't matter. You're just good at everything. Even I've seen you in your interviews, and I've heard you speak.
Shivani, I think over the last 25, 30 years, I'm a very shy person. I don't interact with people. Socially, I'm quite inept. People don't believe that when I say that. Even at home, I'm quite, I'm reclusive by nature. I just have my set of people that I will talk with. But I think over the years, I've had the opportunity, the great opportunity and good opportunity of hearing so many point of views and hearing so many people talk such nice things and wrong things that somewhere naturally it has imbibed in me to further that. You don't have 30 years of goodness in one life to one person. So I hear so many, I meet such wonderful people because of who I've become. So I need to share that. I'm sitting, sometimes even the story writers or the leaders or, gurus and some kids, they're saying things and I'm like, I need to share this with the world. It's really nice.
So are you a storyteller?
I think I'm a storyteller, yeah. More than a communicator. What I want to communicate or tell a story, mainly I do through my films.
Yeah.
But beyond that, if I'm called upon, like a TED Talks or say at Yale or somewhere where I think young kids would like to hear what I have to say, I don't presume, I'm not presumptuous that, everybody would like to know my story. No, I don't think so. But I think there is an audience that may not mind my story. And I like to tell them a story in the most interesting way, whether it's a TED Talks or I'll make it funny, I'll make it sweet, and hope they take back something to know. A good life begets a good life.
What, according to you, is the best story that you've told?
I think every film of mine, I believe, is a good story that I tell. Sometimes a lot of people don't think so, and they shut the book. Okay. Sometimes some of the average stories, people love them so much that they ask for a sequel. So I think the storytelling is through only the books. My storytelling, I think the nicest stories I tell are through my eyes when I'm acting in a film. The rest of it, I don't get so many opportunities. Maybe if you know me personally, I have a lot of funny stories to tell. I can make everything funny, including things which I feel are wrong upon me. I will tell them funnily. I have a sense of humor, which I don't exercise too much now on social media, etc., because people jump on to you too hard, and I'm all right not expressing that. But I think, the best stories I tell through my eyes when I'm saying it in a film. Sometimes people get it, sometimes they just don't get it. No. And it's not their fault. It's my fault.
So in an era where brands are obsessed with storytelling, what would be your tip to the brands?
I'm a big believer, especially with Hyundai now, because we've had a long successful run that instead of making the star of a film a product, can we just tell a story around the star? And I think some people are able to do that with me. Some people don't have the time or the money to afford me, so they want me to sell it straight.
Yeah.
10% off on Diwali. So that's okay too. I mean, that's a story. Maybe sometimes to some people it's a better story that, listen, we're getting 10% off on Diwali. But I've done some ads which are great storytelling. I think there was which one did I like? Some of them are vague and different. They're not around the product, and they don't. And I'm saying they use me as a star.
Yeah.
More subtle.
I quite like the one that you had for Dubai tourism.
Oh, that was lovely.
Amazing.
That was lovely.
And the reaction was
it was real, and I really thought it won't work.
Yeah.
But it did. Yeah, that I think is one of the best ads I've done in my career. Yeah.
So, brands have taglines. What is the best, what is the tagline that you personally associate with the most, the brands that you've endorsed?
Even if I didn't want to, I think some of the ones, one that I started being called on the roads, I was just saying Santro Wala. It was just a ad campaign in the song Santro Wale. It's a very simple line. It didn't have, we also didn't know it'll go there.
Yeah.
But I know for many years, like how they say Bazigar or something. Hey, Santro Wale. It became a thing. It had a ring to it somehow, which we also didn't realize at that time, or maybe the people who were creating it did.
Yeah.
I think that's one. And I don't know. The line that I live by all my life is do your best and leave the rest.
Yeah.
So any product of mine which has that line that, listen, we are doing our best and we're leaving the rest, and hope it flies.
You own businesses. You have Red Chillies Entertainment. You are owner of an IPL team, Kolkata Knight Riders. Has owning businesses changed your perspective on the businesses that you work with?
Not at all. My philosophy is business, I think, is not something most people follow. And I'm very clear the reason I do business is very different from most people, and I think they're righter than I am. I do it because nobody else would do it. Now it's very difficult to imagine IPL not being bought at that time, but nobody was buying it. I couldn't afford it, but I just went because my children like sports, and I want to have. I've always said the things that I like are sports and cinema and children. I even say now, 3 C's: cricket, and cricket mainly for sports more than even cricket. I like sports, and cinema and children. These are the 3 C's I go by. Any business related to any of those 3, I jump into it. If nobody else is doing it.
Do we see you owning other teams beyond cricket in different sports?
We have CPL. I think we're going to build on this. Shivani, I'll be honest, I don't borrow money from anyone. My business philosophy is very simple. And I've reached a place where I don't want to dance more at weddings than I do already. So the business has to be run by monies that I bring in. I'm the investor in the business. I'm the promoter of the business. I don't borrow money from anyone. If business starts losing, you see, films are already very draining because films can go wrong. The best of them goes wrong. So it's not very dependable what I produce. Sometimes it goes through the roof, sometimes it just brings everyone down. So whenever you are in a business like, say, now CPL, IPL and the South African League, Kidzania, I need to keep them above board, and I don't run them, that's why. Okay. My CEO and my team of people run it because they need to keep it above board. If it was left to me, some of the teams we may not take if it's not affordable, because then they have to call me and say, sir, we need money, and they hate doing that. So whenever it's affordable, whenever we don't lose money on it, slowly but surely, yes, inshallah, I'll have all the teams, all the sportsmen. I would love to do it. I wish I had that much money. Okay,
we have seen you do a couple of ad films with Gauri Khan. What is it like working with her in ad films?
It's the most...
is it different? Is it challenging?
It's the most scary, difficult day of my life when I shoot that one day ad for Decor. Because exactly like how I am, Gauri is completely opposite to that. When it comes to punctuality, timing, propriety, getting the job done and moving on. So I think, and I would like to thank all the people who work with me, that they allow me a little bit of tardiness, that instead of coming at 9:30, I'll be there at 11:30, 12, and I still finish the work. But that ad, I have to be there earlier than anyone else, because she reaches at 8:30 for a 9 o'clock shift, and it's horrendous. It's the most difficult. I'm like, early in the morning, and it's never been, I've been working for years, it's never been, I better go to sleep, I have to get up early. I'm awake till 4, 5 and go for shooting, and I'm quite a maverick like that. But when we're shooting Decor, I have to be at my best behavior. I have to also not make her wait for anything. Here I can do an interview, just hang around, talk to friends, chat. So it is very difficult, and in spite of all that, I think they make me look really cheerful and happy in those ads. And they had a very clear directive that we sign you only because you're a husband. It's not the other way around. So that's the only ad I do as second lead. But I'm happy that it turns out well.
All right. Finally, in an era where youth today has to deal with a lot of negatives of social media, what are the tips that you give to your own children?
You see, this era is the way youth will be ready for youth. We are nobody to give them tips. You can give all the tips you want. This is their era. They created this. Of course, there are a lot of screw-ups we've also created, like pollution and environment and a lot of wrong things. But I think these are signs of times of the younger people's creation, and they will find solutions to it. So I don't really have too many tips for my children on social media and internet. They tell me I take even bad pictures on social media. So I'm like, really? Yeah, I'd like them to be safe. I'll request all children. Why all children? I'll request all grown-ups also. Just be a little wary of what you say, how you say, where you say, the information that you give out, and look after yourself. Just because it seems there are no human beings on internet, don't be fooled. Like you're walking, like we are saying, walk carefully, through the traffic on main roads. Just because it's material, it makes sense. I think internet also has traffic, and you need to be careful while
navigating.
You have to be careful about everything in life. Every technology will come with its own negatives. But I think the young people will sort it out themselves. I'd sound too patronizing if I was to give youngsters any tip on internet. Any tips on black and white films and Kodak film and Eastman color? I can teach them a thing or two.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Bessie.